any questions that you have in mind.
Before 2 years ago, I practiced bow and chant 관세음보살. That day, I listened Om Salva Mucha Mochi Sadaya Saba in mind.
Yeah.
From my mind. So, if I have consciousness, I can chant 관세음보살 or 석가모니불 and so on. But if I have no consciousness, I can just chant Om Salva Mochi Sadaya Saba.
Bosanim, I'm sorry. If you want to chant, you need consciousness, whatever the mantra is, okay? And any kind of mantra, just take away your I, my, me. You still have consciousness, but that consciousness is no longer isolated. That consciousness and the world become one. Because by chanting, and also by some other methods, you return to our substance. And our substance, in all of us, is the same substance. Not just in human beings, in all beings. Also in the inanimate part of our existence, we say the non-living part. So, as long as you have consciousness, you can chant. No consciousness, no chanting. That's like being a rock or a tree. Okay? So human beings have this mind which is sometimes unbelievable, what our minds can produce. It's beyond any possible belief what human minds can just put forward in names and forms, ideas and all that. But this same mind is the very source, the very start, the very vehicle of enlightenment, to go beyond it. It's an amazing thing, you know. As if you could build a castle out of thin air. Not only that, you could put all your furniture into it and live in it. And when you look at it, what is it made of? We don't know. What is our thinking, feelings, past, present, future made of, the ultimate substance? We don't know. This don't know is really helping us. So, you have mind, you do the mantra. No mind, no mantra. Okay? Simple, okay? Thank you. More questions?
Nice to meet you, Chong An Sunim.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Yes, let me introduce first of all. I'm attending at the Hwagesa Temple because of Sungsan Sunim. Yes, because of attending this class, I met you sincerely. My question is two. First, how do you conquer your mind? For example, money and power of the temptation of the beautiful girl, and also first. The next, I remember you met at 1994 at Sungsan.
91.
91. Sorry.
Became monk 94.
Yes. Meeting.
Can you hold that question? Because you asked so many things before that I'll forget.
Just almost, yes, sorry.
So,
yeah.
Second question a little later. First question. How do I relate to money, power, as you said, the temptation of beautiful girls and women? This is a very interesting subject, and I tell you that if you practice, then you can use all this in your path. And there's one key element in there. It's not my money. It's not my power. It's not my girlfriend. It's not my wife. Okay? It's really important. So if you put your I, my, me into it, then money, power, women, food, sleep, fame, all this becomes a hindrance because you bind it to yourself. You attach to it. You identify with it. You want it or you don't want it. Okay? This world is just like this. As it is. Originally it has no I, no ego. That's the Buddha's most profound teaching. We make I, we have a problem with everything. Not just what you mentioned, even the simplest things. You don't make I, You walk through without a scar, even in the most dangerous, most tempting, most powerful, most lucrative situations, because you don't want anything for yourself. You meet another person, beautiful or not, man or woman, how do you help that person? You meet money, sometimes you get a lot of it just because of your karma. How do you use that for other beings? It's not mine. Even if you work for it, it's not yours. I mean, what do you do with a stack of paper right in front of you? Look at it for 100 years? It's not yours. You have to use it somehow. You get some power where you have control over people's lives because you really do. Face it. Somebody becomes a president, they have a major impact how people live. They had better face it. How do they use their powerful position to help people wake up, to live a better life? Not just to get what they want, but also how to care more for each other. Okay? So the answer to that is, how can I really help you and others in any kind of situation? And the key to that is that anything I meet is not me, it's not mine. Okay? Next question.
The problem is how to realize the dream or the emptiness. I don't...
Ask yourself, what am I? Keep that question, keep that wadu. Emptiness will come sooner than you think.
I just want, yes. I guess you get a religion, other religion before meeting Sungsan.
Guessing is the preliminary for disaster. So don't guess, please. You can ask, did you have a religion before meeting Zen Master Sungsan? And if you ask that question, I can say no. I was raised diagnostic. My parents were doctors. And we talked about cause and effect over the dinner table many times. And they brought body sicknesses at home from work in their consciousness because they were dealing with sick people. My dad, either as a researcher or a pathologist or a cardiologist, he had many skills, or my mom as a pediatrician, taking care of children and walking in the area from newborn baby until year 18. She was taking care of all these people. Some of the grandchildren of her patients are still greeting her in the street. That's fantastic, you know. And I was raised diagnostic because I was fortunate to be born in a kind of clear cause and effect relationship with the world in terms of my parents' job. They didn't have a job which would have kind of given me any ideas. And I was never a member of any religion, any political party, any kind of organization which I disagreed with. I joined a bunch of sports clubs and art, etc., martial arts, creative things, theater, whatnot. I like groups, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I couldn't train in Korea if I didn't like groups. I like family, Dharma family. Right? So I got acquainted with many forms of Catholic, Christian, Adventist, Unitarian, Methodist, Baptist, all kinds of flavors of following Jesus' teaching. It happened because I was born in Europe, but I didn't enter any of them because for me the answers were not clearly given. I always would have had to believe something which I never experienced. And I believe in experience. That's why I'm practicing the path which gives you the experience. And then everything's clear. Then I don't have to believe somebody else's speech. We can become independent and we can grow up. And through this spiritual independence we can truly connect. Because you're not afraid that someone else will dominate you or control you or use you or misuse you. Okay? More questions? I have to add that this kind of view, which I just explained, did not prevent me from having Christian friends, Jewish friends, materialist friends, university friends, and non-university friends. I could connect with everybody, basically, because I did not take their views as a basis for our relationship. We had some job together, we had something in common, we got down to it, we did it, we had some fun, we had some sports. some of my friends became really, really high in either church hierarchy or in science or even in politics. Not to mention a couple of really creative architects, engineers, psychologists, etc. So I did not follow any of that. It was not my way. I had to find it by myself. Okay? I think that makes the picture a little more easy and clear. So, more questions? Yes, Mira.
Korean society has become more competitive these days, and sometimes I think, do I have to follow this competitive atmosphere in society to be successful in Korea? Sometimes I have that conflict in my mind, and
okay, wonderful question. There are two kinds of successes. One is that you strive to achieve through your own ambition and effort against another person or persons. I have to say this is mostly the Western style. Very individualistic, outside smile, inside knife. So the other kind of success is that you really work to do your job well as you work for other people, to help other people, then success comes to you. You don't grab it. That comes to you. It takes a lot more effort, takes a lot more faith, takes a lot more time, and seemingly you have to kind of be on the slower path. People make more advancements than you do. But there's a key point here, quality. So some people can shout bigger than you, but what do they shout? If your voice is very soft, but you say very, very high quality things, and sooner or later people will start to listen to you, no matter how much or how loud the other is shouting. So there's a key point here, quality. So do your work to the best of your abilities. Try to help other people with it. Don't put just your own individual ambition forward, and try to go together with the other people. And then not only they get promotion, you get promotion too. And you didn't take this heavy toll of trying to put other people down so that you would go forward. Why is this so important? These opposite energies or dualistic, very, very dualistic, competitive energy, they annihilate each other. Necessarily so, because they don't believe in harmonizing. They say, either me or you. I win and you lose. But if you win, I lose. It's a very coarse, very rough philosophy. How about a win-win situation? We all move forward. We all get promoted. Some people will always be younger in the job. Some people will always be older. Some people will always be in one particular segment of the company. Some other people will be oriented to some other area of the company. So even big businesses and very, very old companies in Europe and in America increasingly, they recognize that competition doesn't mean that within the company we have to be so blindly ambitious that we cut each other's legs when they want to go forward before us. So it takes a very clear company culture to prevent that from happening, and maybe you should try to find a place where the leadership, the company leadership, is enlightened enough not to honor senseless, dualistic, disharmonious individual ambition. There are still places to do that. It's harder and harder as companies are fighting and more to, for survival, financial survival. But again, against each other, we divide each other, we fall. Companies that unite, or maybe unite with other companies, etc., or societies unite with other ones, or harmonize with other ones, they can survive. They can make a difference. You understand the law of gravity? You have a very large mass, smaller mass gravitates towards it. Law of the universe, right? Now, if somebody is stupid enough to divide the original big mass into 2, 4, 8, 16, then that mass is divided. Then the group is fragmented. Then the company is fragmented. People don't understand each other's minds. And gravity stops working because they become these isolated little entities, and then some other big one appears and boom, starts to attract these isolated little units. You know, headhunters? Headhunters have success because of bad company culture. That's how they can convince people to go to another firm for some little more money. But if the company culture was so high class, so secure, so clear, then even for a little less amount of money, people would still be there and work for the group where they really feel that they belong, where they feel secure, where they feel awarded, etc., etc. I mean, look at the typical Korean dinner. Mostly, some people, many people, they talk, and other people listen, and at the end of each contribution, there's an applause. Isn't that wonderful? So we can extend that. We can actually use that in our everyday life. And yeah, competition is okay. Senseless and blind competition will maim us, will cut our hands and feet. But some healthy competition where the energies unite, that'll be fine. That'll be no problem. So find your place. Then competition will make sense. Don't work for a place or for a group of people where you feel alienated, that you don't belong there, that it doesn't make sense to make effort there. Find your place. And then do your job at very high quality. That's the best competition. Okay? More questions? Yes, right here.
Said adequate competition is okay. So since you're a monk, I want to ask you about a monastic life. So in monastic cycle, there is still competition. Do you think that's still adequate?
How do you know there is competition?
Oh, I just know that. Sorry for, I don't know.
You guess?
It's not a guessing. I experience just a lot of...
You listen to other people's opinion?
Not opinion. I just see what's happening in Korean monastic life. So since you're a monk, just let me ask you about the monastic competition. So do you think that's still adequate?
Monastic competition? You have to enlighten me what that is. If you are firm and clear with your experience and not just follow somebody else's speech, then you can tell me what you think it is.
Okay, just let me just throw a story from our teacher, historic Sakyamuni Buddha. When he gave silent transmission to Ma Kashyapa, there is a lot of competition. You already know that.
No, I don't. What was that?
Because Ma Kashyapa wouldn't seem very clever because he's mostly a silent person. So when he looks like his teacher Shakyamuni's silent transmission, there are many jealousy or something like that. So you said competition is okay, and it's kind of just, usually monks do not say competition is okay. That's the reason I'm asking you this, since you're a monk, You
know that your question is not clear?
Oh, my question is clear enough. Since you're a monk, you think monastic competition, like competition around the monastic cycle, is still adequate or is totally, blamed? Or yeah.
Maybe you should join a monastery for some time. Especially nuns' monastery for you would be very good training. They will so much kill your competition mind, you would be so surprised. So don't listen to other people's opinion. Don't just read the scriptures with your current consciousness. Really clear your mind. And if you want to experience what's going on inside the monastery, you should go there and join for some time. Then you really see it for yourself. Okay?
So you said there is no competition.
You should listen to my words very carefully. I say that if you truly want to experience what's going on inside the monastery, you should go there and see it for yourself. Join that community. Experience the group culture that is ruling inside the monastery. then you will not depend on other people's opinion or half-baked knowledge. This is a really important point. Next question. Back there.
Sunim, you mentioned about middle way and awareness, clearance, and leadership. But sometimes I feel like this awareness and a middle way is cold as an ice.
Cold as ice?
And if you keep on this middle way, how can you really understand someone's suffering? And can you tell me your point of view about being human and compassion and being aware? So can you explain a little bit more about that, your point of view?
Sure. Actually, it's a very valid question. The middle way doesn't mean neutrality and without feelings and all this that we are actually afraid of, that we would be bleached out and just remain an empty shell without trying to really attain our true self. Because what you say implies that the middle way is just turning you down, like you would turn off a gas cooker, and when the flames are out, when the flames are extinguished, nothing remains. And we would become totally empty. So the middle way truly represents the refrainment from extremes, not following illusions. And when we truly enter the world of just like this, we see that what the person really is without any dualistic thinking, then we can truly connect with their feelings, we can truly connect with their thinking, we can reflect their minds. And we have to stop here a little bit. So if we do not reflect the other person's consciousness, if we truly cannot connect with their feelings, then we cannot help them. And the middle way is designed exactly for that, so that we are not lost in our own extreme karma, but we firmly stay in the moment, and we truly perceive another human being and this world as we truly are. So I think that's a much more optimistic or viable concept of the middle way. If we attach to intellectual thought, then the neither form nor emptiness, neither good nor bad, neither high nor low, this kind of reasoning may make us feel that actually in the middle way there's nothing, not even human. Okay? But when you practice, you truly attain that it operates differently. It's just the first step that you clear away the obstacles of dualistic or opposites thinking and feeling. The next step is that this enables you to return to the mind which is clear like space, clear like a mirror. Then the next step is you perceive truth. And then the next step is that you perform correct function. So we shouldn't stop at 25%. We have to go all the way. Okay? And if you follow these steps, then you really see that it works perfect. If the middle way was just a neutral idea which kind of deprives us of our human nature, it would have died out long time ago, because it wouldn't work. But it does work if you really digest the teaching, if you really process your karma. Then we can truly return to our true selves. And then our true self start to function. And that's wonderful. Okay? More questions? Yeah.
What is the true generosity? True generosity. Do you understand it? True
the
give.
First part, I understood true generosity as an expression. What else did you say?
Yeah, giving something without any exception.
So what is your question?
What is the true generosity?
What is true generosity?
True.
True generosity. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. I like it very much.
Next question.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's all?
Not enough?
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to help many people. I would like to give a big donation, but I don't have enough resource. I am not rich. I don't have enough time, enough money. Yeah, it makes me some guilty. It makes me feel guilty. How can I do that?
Find what you really have and try to give that. You know? What is it that we all have? We have time and energy. We have many, many things that we don't even think of because we use it all the time. We don't look at that. Okay? So if you don't have money, of course, not everybody has a substantial amount, that's good. Then try to have with your time, expertise, and energy. You know, there's a tale. Wait. Patience. So, do you know this Western tale, King Midas, M-I-D-A-S? Okay. So King Midas had the magic touch which turned everything into gold. So that sounds pretty good, right? Especially if you have an interest in derivatives, you want to buy or sell gold, and it's a really golden opportunity to make a lot of gold. And then we think we are rich. So, you touch this, becomes gold. Inside the cup becomes also gold. You take up your chopsticks, become gold. You touch the food with it, also becomes gold. So poor King Midas turned everything into gold, and he died. So don't think that money is everything. Money is a means of transferring energy and perceived value from one place or one person to another. It's a means of communicating or transferring energy from one place to another or one person to another. I have to repeat this because people think that money has inherent value. No, money is a piece of paper with some colors and numbers, and you and I believe that it has value, so we use it. In fact, it's established by some really strong power holders saying that, all of you, from now on, this is value. Okay? Even with gold, it's very clear. I mean, since gold doesn't change so much and it doesn't disintegrate and it doesn't kind of lose its own nature, we have a natural, inherent sense of value in gold. It doesn't evaporate, it doesn't break apart, etc. So you can keep it and it will always be like that. But originally, it's empty. Originally, gold doesn't know that it has value. Moreover, certain cultures, like the Mayans, they had a totally different value system. So when the Spanish conquistadors, they went to South America, and they saw these immense, these huge gold creations, they said, what? These guys are not selling this on the market? So they took everything, took back, to Spain, and for 400 years, they financed Spain out of the stolen gold. Stolen, bloody, murderous gold. And eventually that was the downfall of Spain because they totally eliminated the need for their own industry, etc., etc., etc. Everything was externalized. Everything came from an external resource because they thought of an external value. And that's how we come back to your question. So don't think of an external value that you need. Find your internal value. Find your human quality. Find your human internal resources. Then you can contribute to the project or to the group activity in many ways. So you don't have money to finance a kind of cleaning person to clean up the Dharma room. You come clean it up yourself. It's a very simple example. You don't have money to donate to create a website for your favorite temple, but you learn HTML programming, you create the website yourself. You don't have money to donate for rice and vegetables, but you have a garden, you cultivate it, you donate from your own. It was the old way. In the Buddha's time, money was not an issue. Food, shelter, clothing, etc. was an issue. If you look at the old scriptures, they really say that a monk cannot have more than just like this very small copper coin, if ever it appears. But they always talk about food donation. A bhikkhu is not supposed to look into another bhikkhu's bowl. Okay? If you have the 5 precious food donations, including butter and meat and the 5 bhojaniyas, allow me not to list it right now, then you have to share it in this and this way. They have a bunch of rules about cloth. How many kind of rolls of cloth can a monk keep, and at what point it should be donated to the community. And they really have a natural and clear approach to life, because money, again, is empty. It has a perceived value, which is now so big, this perceived value, that everybody depends on it, or forced to depend on it. And money is just a means to transfer energy and value from one place, one person to another. So don't think about it all the time. Think about the meaningful contribution that you can make. If you're a rich person because you have a lot of money, you can do that. If you're not rich financially, you can be still rich humanly. So donate that. Okay? More questions? Last few questions, actually. Yes or no? No problem. Yes, Hamushim-san. Yes, please.
I think you have been living in Korea for a long time, and you now visit Korea for a couple of months for give a lot of Dharma talks. And I'd like to know that this time you've been visiting and give a lot of Dharma talks in Daejeon area and Seoul area. So this time, what do you feel about your Dharma energy for visiting Korea?
It's wonderful to be here. It's a true honor to teach in this country. Whether I feel tired or not doesn't matter. It's my job. And it's wonderful to see all of your open eyes and open minds. And even before the end of this talk, I really sincerely appreciate your attention. Really, thank you. Few talks, many talks, here, there, doesn't matter. But the Dharma talker, me, this time, we have an important job. We have to notice when to shut up. And soon it will come. Because there's always a kind of natural recycling time when we have to recharge our batteries so that behind the words there would be the necessary energy to give you. Because it's not my words that you listen to. You may think that you listen to my words. In fact, it's a very small part of the whole spectrum. Our minds connect. Our energies connect. And if I have really something to give you, to share with you, it's that. These words can change. This style can change. But what really brings you here is our one mind, at least for the duration of the talk. And that is so marvelous. You know, we could sit here silently for 90 minutes, but then the audience would decrease very quickly. But, you know, during Kyoche or during a Yongmaen Jonjin, that's exactly what happens. No more talking is necessary. Those who enter practicing, they already understand. So they sit in silence, and your mind is before thinking, next mind is before thinking, next mind, next mind, next mind. All the minds are before thinking, become one. And that's an experience which is irreplaceable. It's truly irreplaceable. It's the most fantastic thing. And you feel there is no boundary. There is no hindrance. There is no separation. And your substance and the other person's substance, whole world substance, same substance. But you are who you are with your karma. She is who she is with her karma. I am who I am with my karma. It's true at the same time. And that's what's marvelous about practice. It really opens up these horizons. So, yeah, you asked me about these Dharma talks in a week. It's all finished. And then, again, go back to Wonkwangsa, to the Hungarian temple, which is under construction, and then continue practicing and living there. And 2 days after I return, there is a Begil Yorum Kido, a 100-day summer Kido. It's very, very important. Okay? Last question.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go back to the group karma that you talked about.
Gladly.
Yeah. I don't think I can quite understand the definition or concept of group karma, but...
How can you say that? You're Korean.
In terms of group karma, I don't think the human history is advanced and evolved that much because, for example, in Greek society, maybe Roman society, there they were much less materialistic than today's is this capitalist society. So maybe the Guru Kalma at those times were much lighter and much better for practitioners.
Hold it. Don't forget. Who created the current society? They did. Okay? So the mind is not different. It just hasn't evolved so much. It hasn't exploded into this technological mass society that it's the same mind. Based on the Greek and Roman and other heritage, we created this. So why are the kids are going to game rooms and department stores and computer rooms and all these? Because the fathers and mothers created that for them. The use is that if we don't try, we go so low and so quick. It's unthinkably bad. I can tell you about great downfalls, and one of the downfalls was experienced in my country exactly 63 years ago. In 1945, the Second World War ended. It left Hungary in ruins, but the minds of the people were intact. It was the same natural development as we went through many, many centuries. Then in 1946, some transformation started, and in 2 years, a very small minority called communists, they came to power. All right? And then started a decrease in human life quality, a decrease in culture, a decrease in every single sense of the word, which we have to clean up now. We see only in the last 20 years, since 1990, we have had this kind of freedom. We see our homework. It's an immense homework. So, if we don't practice something which keeps us afloat, we fall so fast because we just follow some ignorant view. We just follow some idea. So, what's the use? You ask. That's what keeps us human. Really practicing human mind, practicing the human path, that's what keeps us human. Constantly asking the question, what are we? Not just what am I. Constantly, what are we? That's the next step. It's a collective wadu. What are we? So, if we don't ask this question, then soon thinking takes over. And I have to say, communism is a very extreme and very dysfunctional thinking. It basically failed everywhere. Or it is failing everywhere, wherever it's still holding. It has caused so much damage. It has caused so many deaths. Basically, tens of millions of people lost their lives because of that particular political thinking. And if I hadn't kind of grown up in that country, then I wouldn't say it. If I hadn't experienced the political transition from a dictatorship to a democracy, seeing the immense task that the new democracy has to deal with, I wouldn't say this. This really doesn't come from my readings. I experienced the struggle that my father's and mother's generation had to go through, and it's still not over. You know? When the men are told that you cannot do this, and the women are told you cannot do this, you have to think this way, you have to behave this way, all this, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It brings suffering and ruin and shortage, constant shortage. Hungary never had famine. In 1953, there was famine. Because they really, really mismanaged agriculture. It was totally disaster. We always had industry. We always had quality products. You know, in the 50s, our industrial quality went so low that after 1990, we sold most of our industrial potential. In fact, until today, 90% of the Hungarian industrial potential was sold because it was beyond management after communism was over. So I'm bringing this very hardcore historical example to make you absolutely aware of the fact, no matter how useless it may seem, no matter how hopeless it may seem, if we don't try to attain the way, if we don't try to keep ourselves afloat, if we don't try to develop ourselves, then we cannot blame anyone for the loss of our lives, for the loss of our quality, for the loss of our culture. Okay? So try 10,000 years non-stop, no matter what the result is. Okay? So I hope all of us will stay clearly on the path, on the middle way, on the human path, which leads us to awakening, which helps all beings, and that from time to time we can meet again, share the Dharma again, and make a joint effort to attain enlightenment together again. Thank you very much.